So, hey guys, for those who don't know me, I'm Brandon DeVere, and today I'm really excited to meet with Chris today. He's an incredible trainer. He has just a podcast like pioneer, YouTube guru, millions of downloads, generated tens of millions in sales volume with uh, using video. And everyone's here to learn how to generate Pablo Escobar leads. And you're probably wondering, what is a Pablo Escobar lead? I actually was wondering that until last week when Chris and I were on a call, and he mentioned it and he explained what it was to me. And so we wanted to kind of get out there and share with everybody. Um, this call is kind of going to go down this way. We're gonna talk basically about like shifting your mindset, and resetting the mechanism and getting yourself more familiar and comfortable with video to start shooting video, because we believe it's that important. Especially after Chris talks about it, you'll really understand why we feel that way. And he's kind of given me an extra pump into why I think the video is even more important than I did think before. Then we're going to kind of talk about treating video as a business entity or asset, not just kind of just some ancillary thing that you just randomly do, like using it, for a purpose, on purpose, with purpose. And then we'll kind of go into some activities like that you could do today to get started. But first, before I let Chris start talking with us, I want to tell a quick story of about 6 years ago when I first got into podcasting. I started going to these podcast meetups, and it was Chris was one of the hosts there, and I met him, and I would go there. He was hosting it for free, doing it for free, all this stuff once a month. And I believe it was for about 3 years that he was doing it. Oh, 4 years, for 4 years. And so I told him I was going to this event called Podcast Movement. And he had mentioned, this was in Anaheim Convention Center, like thousands and thousands of people there. And I told him, I was like, hey, I'm going to go to this event. And he said, oh, I think her name was Jennifer. I can't remember, but he said, hey, tell Jennifer I said hi. So I couldn't go to the entire event. So what I did was I booked a like a offset class that was the day before, like during registration day. It was $50, but it was an add-on to the rest of the rest of the convention. And so when I went there, I booked it, and then I was told, I got an email saying you can't do that. It stands alone. And I kind of name dropped, and I said, well, the woman Chris wanted me to say hi to was actually the one helping put it on. So the gentleman who messaged me that, I messaged back and I just said, oh, hey, oh, that's okay. I thought that's the only day I could go. But Chris Cerrone said that just to tell Jennifer hi. And 30 minutes later, I get an email back that says, Jennifer says it's okay. So I shamelessly name dropped, and like 5 years ago, and got into this convention that I wasn't supposed to be in. And just by using Chris's name, just kind of give you an idea of where he's at in this space that we're going to talk about today. So Chris, happy to have you.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
And no, I'm doing great. And thank you for I could tell you were struggling to say what the hell I actually do, because I struggled to say that. What I actually do, it's a bunch of things. But no, thank you for saying all those nice things. And as you were retelling that story, which I'm trying to recollect, I now remember, which I won't mention their name, whose name to drop. So I love being able to do that. That's what I live for in those moments, selfishly. Yeah. People want to get rich and do cool stuff. I want people to just use my name to get either free shit or access somewhere or somehow help them. So
yeah. Well, and in my defense, I did text you right away and said, hey, I name dropped you, and you were like, hey, that's cool, whatever. So that's the kind of, you're very giving in that way, and as you are, coming here today as well. But one of the first things that we want to talk about, and you and I have had this conversation before about shifting the mindset, and the term reset the mechanism. How do you feel like why does that invoke so much passion in you?
Thank you for using the word passion. So I'm just going to set it up. I'm not for everybody, and I will go all over the place, but I'm going to do my best to bring it down, just because that's how passionate I am, not only just about video and all this other stuff, but just what I do every day. Right. I feel even still, and I've been saying this now for 10, 15 plus years, like people are sleeping on video. So there's somebody, I'll give you an example. There's someone, this person's a rock star, and I'm trying to get in this person's life more, believe it or not. And they, right before, texted me something to the effect of like, it's too late, or before it blows up, or whatever. And you and I have had these conversations when we first started, or when I first started podcasting, whatever. It's like, it's, the space is too crowded, it's too busy, there's too many people, all this other stuff. My biggest thing, and I'm hoping I'm answering your question, as far as like resetting the mechanism, I wanted you, when we were talking about this, and all I kept thinking was resetting the mechanism. I had a mentor, a boss years ago. He came from Philip Morris, Big Tobacco, right? From the marketing side, and he was a VP and all this other stuff. And I bring that up because the way Big Tobacco looked at things back in the day was like very analytical. Like they knew their stuff. It wasn't even about cigarettes, right? It was about getting product in people's hands. And he always used to tell me when we were working together, like, you got to reset the mechanism. And he was saying that in the sense of like, kind of like reset your mind, right? Like forget everything you kind of know or don't know, and don't overthink it, and kind of take a step back, look at the situation, and then just freaking go forward, right? Like it sounds very woo-woo. So what does that mean, right? For video and the purpose of this call, right? Like I know, not that I believe, I know for a fact everybody's overthinking it, because the stuff that I'm doing now on my team that I have now, and with others, like we're already seeing it just by doing the basic ass shit that I keep telling people to do after all these years, and they're already seeing results. And by the way, I'm not trying to sell anything at the end of this thing either.
Yeah.
Like I want to make that known. This isn't to be like, well, we're going to hype you up on this video stuff, and then at the end, 1,500. No, not at all. Like it's not that. Like I was taught, and then I will shut up and let you talk. I was taught once, like a long time ago, like the way it was phrased is like, you only keep what you have by giving it away. And the way I interpret it, and this is why I did the free podcast thing, and why I continue to give back and give back and give back, is I do live a freaking pretty awesome life. And for those that actually know me and know what I've been through in the last, year, for me to still say that, like, it's because I continue to do stuff like this and give back, and just try and like shift people's mindset on how they freaking approach business, life, everything. Now to bring it down, how they approach video, and how to bring it down even more, because I'm wired this way, money and making money and giving time back, right? Like, it's a free tool that's made me and a lot of people a lot of freaking money, and this. So
yeah,
I can only keep my success by giving it away. So that's what I'm trying to do.
No, and I would say, I mean, if anybody else wants to jump in too, I would say that that's probably the biggest thing of having people not get started. Like you say just start and change your mindset on video, is that I think we all kind of get in this spot where it's like we need to be perfect when it comes out. It needs to be like just crushing it. Because I know a member of your team, you basically said, hey, just start. And now already she's starting to see stuff from like a month ago, right?
Yeah. So I need to, and if she wants to hop on the chat, I'll let her, but she was perfect because she came into the exercise, if you will, on Instagram specifically, that said, okay, just let me start over. I told her, member of my team, I was like, forget everything, forget the bio. He had 2 accounts, forget all this other stuff. We did these one-on-ones that I do. And I was like, just start posting. Do not think. Don't think. Just start posting. And she did. And in 30 days, I think when we checked in at the team meeting, her account grew, right? Doesn't matter what it grew. Even if it grew from 5 to 10, it grew, right? And then within the last couple of weeks, so it hadn't been that long, maybe 60 days at this point, she's been doing this. We have, she shared in the 36 Chambers, our group chat, a DM that she got from someone that she didn't know, from her super small following. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way, of someone reaching out to freaking buy a house or sell a house or whatever.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So that kind of leads into can you tell us what Pablo Escobar leads are?
Yeah, before I do that,
Okay.
let me get off this train. If
Okay.
you search up, and I didn't want to butcher it, but I don't care. It's either Nia versus Tony or whatever. Like, look Tony up. She's on the team. She's freaking like absolutely murdering. I want to give credit where it's due.
Okay.
I just didn't want to butcher it. But if that's the wrong thing, then just freaking hit me up. I'll give you the right one. So.
All right, but so Tony says, "Yep, that's it."
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. All right. So with that being said, like even starting there, like that is her starting to generate Pablo Escobar leads by just starting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the Pablo Escobar, I'll try and tell the real fast story of where it came from to give people context of why I've been literally using it for this past year. Is like when Narcos came out, like I'm a fan of all that stuff, of course. But like when Narcos came out, they depicted like he had so much money. He was like burning it to keep warm. He was burying it in the thing. And I remember, because I'm old enough, kind of when that era was going on. And I remember, just stories of just how much the lure of how much money this guy had, right? So when I say like Pablo Escobar leads, just kind of picture, instead of dollar bills, it's like slips of paper, right? With people's information on it.
Yeah.
Like their email address and their name that you can call them. And there's so many of them, kind of like literally this piece of paper that I don't care. Like, it's just like, whatever, not throwing people away, but you know what I mean? Like you have so much that you genuinely don't know what to do with them. What started as just post it, that same, screw it, you look okay, all this other stuff, knowledge, and we can get into later, which, grows into a plan and all that, could grow into, because I've done it, like hundreds of millions of GCI with zero like marketing dollars, like zero. And the reason why I like always say zero marketing dollars, and I tout that, like at first, to be honest, because I have an ego like everyone else, it's like, hey, look what I did, zero marketing dollars. But it turned into like, no, this is important, because a lot of agents, when they start, forget when they start, even now, I just went through CE classes. Like, it's expensive to be in this business. You know what I mean? Like, it's expensive to do what we do. And if I know of a resource that's working for me, that's providing the leads to be able to convert them to provide a major income, and I do that on a DIY punk rock shoestring budget, like going back to my roots, why wouldn't I share that with the world? So
that's all. Woo-woo. No, I love it, because we both come from the punk rock world and the DIY stuff, and we both have a similar drive in certain ways, and to do the way that we do things. But so just starting, resetting the mechanism, and then getting into obviously now that's just starting. So now you're starting to get Pablo leads, or your Pablo piggy bank is starting to open up. And then we talked about treating video as a business or an asset, and I'm assuming that you're talking about with that being more with purpose with what you're doing. Once you get those videos, follow up, things like that. Like, what do you mean when you say treating it as a business entity or asset? So
I'll try and start off at the most granular level, and then funnel out from there. Because again, I've been in CE Zoom classes for the last couple of days, and I've just heard stuff. If you spent the amount of effort that, and I don't mean you, I just mean in general, as an agent, if you spend the amount of effort that you're spending in farming neighborhoods, sending out mailers, door knocking, all this other stuff, which is all important, by the way, it's all encompassing. But if you spent that same amount of time in your videos and putting it in content, but for the sake of this talk, just your videos, the ROI that you're going to get on that, like, I don't know how to articulate that, because it's just, I don't know, it's astounding. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, because it's also like you can only knock one door at a time, right? Yeah. So let me interrupt you. Sorry.
No, you're good. I go super fast. Sorry, in my own head. Treating it like a business. So yeah, if you look at it starting at the granular level, like if you put as much effort into it as you do those other activities, you're going to get an ROI. Now, if you treat it like a true business in itself, because it is, right? Like, let's just say YouTube, for example, because I love YouTube. YouTube as itself is an asset separate from you, an income producing asset. So everyone's trying to like do all this income producing, make money, like, cool. You could still do that and be a real estate agent, a real estate professional, and get all these Pablo Escobar leads. Well, what do I mean by that? If you have a brand and you have it on YouTube, you get people, you make content for them to watch it, and then you tell them to click a button to give you information. You take that information. I threw that lead away. Here, I'll grab another one.
You got Pablo leads everywhere.
Yeah, you take that information and you go work that lead. Well, on top of that, if you're just focused on this one thing, right? Just how do I put out the best shit to get people, whether it's in Vegas for us or whatever market, to get them to buy, sell, whatever, we can get into details later. And I just focus on that and nothing else. I'm automatically going to make the best stuff, and it's going to work for me, and I can be confident in all that. While I'm not thinking about it, my channel is going to grow. I'm going to get AdSense revenue, which we both know, right? I'm going to now have a platform to start whatever side hustle you want to start, hoping it's in continuity with your brand. Have a platform to do that, right? Like kind of the same way, we slapped together this call. And I want to say slap together, but like you reached out, we're like, yeah, let's do it. Do you have a list? Like there's platforms to be able to do that. Without getting too like way too off in the woo-woo. But if you're treating your real estate as a business, your career as a business, which you should be, you should equally be treating your YouTube video, whatever your brand, we'll call it, as its own business. Because I mean, God, I can't wait till I could be 100% transparent. I just went through something like this where there was a third-party evaluator separating what is a true asset in terms of this digital, like online space. You know what I'm saying? Like everything from, and again, not to get too far in the weeds, but from the YouTube to even your Instagram is two separate digital assets. So back to just hit start and not overthink it and all this other stuff, like just start creating freaking content. Right? Resetting the mechanism, especially since I just jumbled it up for you. Like resetting that mechanism is like, all I got to do is just start making stuff, because and I'll refer to Tony in her example. She started to learn how to use the platform. She started to know what was cool and what was not, and what was working hashtag wise. And like all these questions that you and I both hear probably, I just want to scream in these talks or these things, like just start doing it and it'll work. So I'm going to give someone else a shout out, because again, I love giving credit where it's due. Katie, I see her in the chat. She's a perfect example. I do a lot of these talks. I do a lot of these things. I do a lot of free classes. I was speaking at one of them, and Katie was in there, and she was like one of maybe two or three out of a group of, call it, I don't know, 30 to 50 people on that math. I could see like she freaking got it, right? Like when I do this stuff, I don't do it for the whole thing. I do it for like the Katies of the world. So what did Katie do? She took that info and she dumbed it down, and she's like, just put out content. Now she happens to be really gangster at putting out content already, and I hope she doesn't mind me talking about her. She just needed to have her mechanism reset, right? And because she, I think, was overthinking it. And once someone simplified it for her and was like, thank you, Katie. Once someone simplified it for her and told her, by the way, it was okay to just post, right? Because everybody's hitting up from everywhere. If I can't imagine what the realtor spaces look like, because I kind of live in both, as far as like being sold products and things and told what to do from different experts. Because I hear it from other industries, especially in the digital space as we do. They're just trying to get their license and start out and figure out how to sell homes and make money and live this dream that was sold to them. Now they got to learn how to be a whole goddamn production company. Like, no, it's people are confusing it way too much, as I've probably been guilty of, over the years. Like at the end of the day, when I look back at the last 5 years, then the last 10, then the last 15 of what I've done, you know, just professionally using video, and a bunch of other stuff, but specifically for this type of video, like I could now look at the tea leaves and go, yeah, it all helps and it's all good to be up on it and use it. But at the end of the day, if you just put out good shit and stay true to who you are and not have to, you know, like keep up with the Joneses, then it's going to work out. Now, I know most people won't want to hear woo-woo advice. We could definitely get into technicalities and all that. But at the end of the day, they just start posting stuff. That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to look pretty.
Do you think so? Two things on that about just getting started. Like you and I have talked about this. I'm a firm believer in like your portfolio. You're building your portfolio. Like whatever you do, your earliest video, like my first podcast disaster thing. I told you I had this mic right here, and I'm sitting here with you know, in the closet or in the garage with like blankets around me and all that stuff. It sounded terrible, but you're going to continue to learn and do that. But if you don't just get that first start, you're not going to do it. The other aspect of it is, you know, once you have it done, you can, you know, people are going to know you before you even know them, so they can work themselves out. Right. So you're not calling 100 leads and having somebody like, I don't want to work with you. Well, you got to call them to find that out. Well, you know, I got a negative review on my book that I found. And at first I was kind of hurt, right? I was like, oh man, that sucks. Like I put my heart into that. I put that book together and this person didn't like it. But then I realized, I was like, you know, it's serving its purpose. And that guy I never have to worry about working with because he's already removed himself from that. So I do like that. And the fact that you can recall on that type of content again. Like I wrote a story 4 years ago on Facebook and I just reposted it last night. And like, not that these are massive numbers by any means, but they're the 100, you know, the you know, the vanity metrics. It was in 10 hours. It was the same story I told 4 years ago. All I did was copy and paste it. I did nothing. I didn't share it as a memory. I copied, pasted, and shared it again. And it's already got like a bunch of interaction and people going, I know how you feel. You know,
I was going to say, it still rings true today, I hope, right?
Oh yeah. 100%.
The content. Yeah.
100%. Okay. So, but you know, you connect with them on another level that you otherwise wouldn't have.
So I want to tell a story of two other individuals on my team. Both, well, one is Ro Valenti. She's known as Ro Knows, and another one's Armando Deblato. So both of them take out content and video for a second, right? Both of them have such a backlog of just badass shit they've done in their lives. You know what I mean? Just being in Vegas forever and just all that they can draw from. And as we're starting to make content on just whether it's individual content for them or on the team and whatnot, like we're pulling from those past experiences and all that. And I mention them because one is literally just starting his new career in real estate, right? Never done real estate before. However, doesn't matter to me one iota. It really doesn't matter because just what he's done in his life and all this other stuff as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. And you met him. It's Armando. You know Armando.
Yeah.
And then you have Ro, who's been in this business just as long as, probably a little bit longer than I have, you know, almost 20 years, right? They're both in such different inflection points of what they could bring to the table, but both are on the same, we'll call it like level. If this was Mario Brothers, they're both at level 1 in really utilizing social media, not just, you know, as most people would as like social, but seeing it, or at least I'm trying to do it in my best way, having them see it in the way as a easy tool. Like it's super easy, almost like literally like a remote control, right? That you just kind of hit buttons and hit zap, and then that's it. And they're starting to do that, and they're starting to see, you know, so like, I'll give you an example, one more example of these two, and then I'll shut up. Armando has extensive knowledge in you know, flowers, wholesale, everything from flower shops to wholesaling across the world, right? We're already utilizing a lot of that stuff from his past, from his background, and then maybe this is more for new agents. or agents who are lost, by the way, kind of resetting the mechanism. Like, what am I good at? What makes me happy? Or what do I have access to? It's like the flower route. Ro, you know, she's been a G in real estate forever, but she's also a published author, a freaking entrepreneur, had a restaurant, chef, like, you know, it's all of it. Now I'm going too fast. It's resetting that mechanism and going back to square one and saying, okay, what could I provide for real estate agents and how do I get Pablo Escobar leads, right? It's making content about, I'll use food stuff as an example if you love food. It's making content about the stuff you like and that's about you that could be beneficial to the person you are talking to. So who the hell are you talking to? Do you even know? I'm not asking you, but I'm just saying, like, in general, like, you need to figure out, and actually Katie, since she's on, she knows about it. You don't have to pitch in, Katie, but she was on this thing where I called out everybody and I was like, do you know who the fuck you are? Because I do. And you're competing with me. And actually I did this again and Tony was at this one. I was like, I'll call people out. And I don't do that to be jerky. I want to just convey like how serious this is, because, you know, this isn't something you should just turn on in front of a client and then like be normal Chris behind the scenes. Like, no, like, these are people's lives. This is their money. I know we're talking about video, but this is how far I think of this shit, right? Yeah. Like, I know who the fuck I am and who I am not. And I'm able to convey that on video. And if you're Brandon in Texas, pretend, or Marion, Wisconsin, and you can feel that, because at this point, everyone's watching a video on Zoom to call bullshit, know who's being marketed and sold. But if you're like, we use food, for example, like, holy shit, like, Chris freaking loves food. He knows food. He's interviewed enough people, talked to enough people, showcased enough food places in his area. Like, I want to buy my house through that guy. Right. And this is where the Pablo Escobar leads come in, right? I'm doing it for me and my team. We're doing it. We're putting out videos in a way we feel good at the end of the day putting out, and content we feel good. Like, we didn't like sneak them into giving us their information. And at the same time, they're able to get that same experience that they romanticized in their head by watching us, right? By doing this, that they don't then call or click or email. And now it's time to put on real estate hat. And then it's like a hard, wait a minute, you're not that person in real life. You know what I mean? Like, you're not YouTube, like, hey, what's up, guys? You know what I mean? Like, I can't do, I mean, I'm naturally turned up, but like, I can't do that all the freaking time. No one can. So now I'm kind of talking all over the place. I'm just trying to make, you know, points back to the, like, just put out stuff, know who the hell you are. And if you don't, that's okay too. Start posting stuff and then you'll figure it out. Back to the Tony thing with the Instagram. Like, figure it out, because I tell you this, a lot of people starting in 2020 started to have to figure it, like, they're now just learning after 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 60 years, 100 years of living. Like, who the hell am I? Everything's freaking different. Right.
Yeah. You made me think of two things in the last couple of minutes, but one, when you say, you know, reset the mechanism, and you were talking about people had been doing different things and now you got to start over. Right. Have you ever heard of the Xbox PlayStation game called Rocksmith?
No,
it's not like Rock Band. You don't play.
Yeah.
Well, Rock Band, Rock Band, you play just the buttons, right? Yep. Well, Rocksmith, you actually plug your guitar into it, so you can learn how to play the guitar. So I got that. Now, my dad has been playing, he's 71. He's been playing bass since he's like 14 years old. And so I threw up a song that he already knows on there, and he failed. They're booing him. He failed miserably. Like, it ended, like, you know, they come out and boo you and you're done.
Yeah.
He got like 8% through it. And he got so frustrated because they were showing him a way to play it that was different than the way he already knew. So he already could play the song, but he couldn't play it that way because he wasn't paying attention to what they were telling him. Like, if he would have reset the mechanism, he would have been able to play it, but he was already so set in his ways that he played it that one way. So that made me think about that. And then the other thing it made me think about when you're talking about, you know, tricking people into signing up, giving you their information, right? And instead of going, oh, hey, I just watched you on YouTube, I want to talk to you. You know, almost, I bet everybody on here has had the interaction with a buyer that you call them up and they either ask you how you got their number, or they say, yeah, you made me sign up for your site so I could look at homes. Like you get that, and then they go, wait, what? Who were you with again? Because they did 7 different searches in 7 days because they didn't remember your website. They just went to Google and typed in 4-bedroom home in Las Vegas with a pool, and whoever popped up, that's who they clicked on. And so that I'm glad that you shared like that way, as far as like that part of it being your business, is that you are, you know, driving the traffic, letting them know who you are, and then you're capturing there after they already kind of want to work with you. So I mean, I would assume that what is an online lead, you know, conversion rate right now, about like 1%, maybe 2, if you're lucky. I know that when I first started doing like Boomtown and all those big CRMs, it was like 3% conversion rate was like massive. Well, now it's like, I think it's down to like 1. So essentially you got to talk to
3% of what though?
1% of the leads that come in will turn into a client.
Yeah.
Right. So that's online. That's, you know, just pay-per-click, stuff like that.
But who says that? And I don't want to sound like a jerk. Who says who says that's the metric to go for in your own world?
Well, I mean, I guess the conversion rate, how many people you'd have to go through to convert a lead. Like that. when they're selling it to you, that's what they're saying, is that, hey, we'll get you X amount of leads. Here's this. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that with video and stuff like that, in any lead that comes in, they've already had a chance to know you. Like Steve is saying right here, is that, you know, they want to see personal stuff as well. And when they see that, they can relate to you and want to work with you more than just you calling them afterwards.
When I started the podcast in 13, 14, and spoke at the first podcast movement in Texas, it kind of freaked me out because people would come up and they'd say stuff about my kids and whatnot. And I'm like, who the fuck are you talking like, but it, you know, I wasn't going to be jerky. Oh, hey, thanks. But then it dawned on me, like, well, it's because they listened to the stupid podcast that I was putting out 3 times a week for, at that time, it was like straight year. Like they've built, then that's honestly what, this is why I'm so big on this. That's what built that context relationship. For them to seek me out and just say hi. And they, you know, people were cool about it. But the fact that they knew so much about me and I had no idea about them, yes, freaked me out for a hot second. And then I got over that because it's the internet, is what I asked for, right?
Yeah.
But it was just very interesting on just that contextual relationship that was so one-sided. So kind of stealing from that experiencing and applying it to real estate, because I've been doing it, you know, since out of high school. I wanted that same raving fan to be a lead, though, not just a, hey, let's talk about podcasting. Like, oh my God, I eat food like that, or I drive a car like that, or I say quirky stuff like that, or whatever the hell it is. You built that context, that connection with this person that you've been watching and scrolling, right, for at least up to 6 months at this point, which you, the agent, have no idea either, that they've been obsessively watching, right?
Yeah.
So that when they decide to fill out a lead, and trust me, everything works. So just put a little asterisk. Yes, I believe in everything. But specifically for this talk, the Pablo Escobar leads, the ones that are actually worth like money, is the ones that already been vetted through the internet, through your content, that they wanted to give you their information, that you don't have to SEO up a landing page and optimize this, that. Like, they're just going to give it to you. Because when I started a team prior, in, was it 2016-ish, 2017, whenever that was, it was YouTube videos in a Google form. Then it went to an Instagram and a Google form, and a shitty Google form at that. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't concerned about how I looked. I wasn't concerned about how it looked. I wasn't concerned about colors. All I wanted was your information. That's it. Because then I was gonna like do what I do, and that could be a whole nother talk. But that's all I wanted. And this goes back to, you brought up a good point. It's almost like jumping back to what you said, and I forget it, but what we were talking about. But the thing in my head was, it's almost like realtors back in the day using the freaking professional studio photo, and then only to find out you got catfished because that was like a 20-year-old photo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, even that, oh, that's why, it's the context. Like it's the video is just a new version of that. Like it's the same thing with the photos. Like keep your stuff, but don't catfish people, because already they're gonna have to think about why are you still using that photo? Yeah, I'll probably buy and sell through you, but now it's just a transactional relationship.
Yeah.
Now as the agent, I got to work 10 times harder to get that referral, to get that this, to get that the other, when I could have just took you along my little storybook that's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, doesn't matter, right? Pick one. That when I give my information, it's Brandon DeVere, the author who runs the big ass freaking team nationwide and who's done talks and all this other stuff, because I've been watching your content. And like, I don't care who you are, because and we'll bring this back to selfishness, because I want to look like the plug. I want to be like, oh, my real estate agent, and then is this, and I want to be that. My guy Brandon shits on everybody. In fact, everybody listening, if anybody needs real estate, you do not go anywhere else without calling my guy Brandon, because I have that right now. You know it. You know, whether it's a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
No, so I just want to see, here's a good testimonial for you, because Tony just put in, she said, I also learned the same thing too from Chris. Definitely works faster and better than just posting real estate only content. Posted on real estate stuff for over a year with no result, started posting more personal stuff, and now I'm seeing way more interactions. And
she's the one that pulled that lead, a DM. Someone slid in her DM for the right reason probably this time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So can we kind of go through maybe a couple like actionable items that people can take like from today, like can go in and be like, right now, like in 5 minutes, when the thing's over, do it and post their first video or whatever. Like, what would you recommend to somebody that's never done it?
If you needed something like literally right now, this second, I'll give you an easy layup that you generally hear in real estate things, if they still do it. Post about this. Create a video on your phone, selfie that shit, and just be like, hey, attended this masterclass video, whatever you want to say. I did it for this reason. Even if no one's watching, because no one's watching anyway. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even when you hit 10,000, you're going to feel like no one's watching anyway. Even 100,000. Like, I'd post something about this on your phone, because what's that going to show, and how's that going to build context? Well, one, it's going to show that you're actively, as an agent, educating yourself, right? Like if I'm continuing to educate myself, making myself better, blah, 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 blah. It's going to show that you're a normal human being and you're not just a real estate agent and this is all I do. Like, and then you figure out from there, kind of like I just kind of figured it out on this call, right? And then at the end of it, you look at it and you post it. Who cares what it looks like? I'm telling you, I got terabytes full of like content that I never posted, that now, thankfully, I'm going to start posting and release. Like I got stuff from many DV tapes, because I've had a camera in my hand forever. But that's, again, going back to like life lessons and resetting the mechanism. I'm like, why did I sit on this? Well, it was out of fear. All of it was out of fear. Wasn't good enough. Both the video wasn't good enough, or I didn't feel I was good enough to post a video. Right time, right this, whatever. It's all like, it all boiled down to fear. And that's what everyone's freaking scared to do now anyway. If we're really going to get freaking transparent, you don't want to look. And God, Katie, thank you so much for saying that. She said, that's me for sure. Fear. That's what it is. And Katie's a perfect example, because for her, it was easy. It was just a conversation. And again, someone else to just show her, especially in our industry, like, it's okay. You can do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's the walls aren't going to come crashing down. People aren't going to like cover their mouths and point fingers at Katie because, you know, she posted something that she made up, was some bar of you know, where she needed to hit, only made up by her. Right. Once she, you know, her, Tony, Ro, Armando, everybody, like once you kind of like see that no one freaking knows what the hell they're doing anyway, they really don't. They really don't. I'm sorry. I'm just saying that as just like a realization, and also as a freaking video online marketer professional, no one knows what the hell they're doing. Like, just start posting, because going back to, I don't know if it was on this call or a call before, that 1% every day, that 1% I teach my kids. Like eventually you're going to put together a week's worth of content, then 30 days of content, then 60 days of content. Then at the end of 60 days, you're going to be 10 times better, just like driving, just like getting your real estate license or selling a house. You get freaking better the more you do it, right? But then to tie it back into what we were talking about at the beginning of this call that you and I have, now you have a chunk of content that you can now refer to, whether it's a resume, as in not like an actual resume, or it's like a resume to point to, or it's a resume of like, honestly, just I feel good about myself. Look what I freaking accomplished. I can do this. I can put together content. I can, like, look, when I started, I posted about this stupid ass class I took on Zoom with some guy that rambled the whole goddamn time. And now I'm creating like this beautiful cinematic, whatever you had in your mind. And before you know it, like you're doing it. So.
Yeah. And with each video will come something a little bit different and add on, like you said, 1%. Oh, I didn't do it this way. Like even for me, like, you know, the struggles I have with the lighting in here. Like sometimes I'm like, oh man, I don't know if this is good. I don't know if that's good. But you know, what were we talking about recently was just ship it.
Just ship it. But can I call you out for a second? And I've heard you give people this podcast advice about the mics and all this other shit. Yeah. Why can't that same thing apply to your lighting and whatever? Like, why do you get to have all this bougie lighting? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, how about put up one light and then go from there? And like right before this call.
Yeah, we were walking through.
Yeah, and I'm not calling you out. Like, I was like, hey, because I know lighting, right? Let me help. Like, hey, shut that off. Hey, twist that. Do this. And we tweaked your lighting, and now it looks better. You didn't have to go buy something new. You didn't have to sign up for another fucking course. You didn't have to, like, you know what I mean? Join a mastermind or a group. And these are all important. I'm not trying to talk crap about them. I'm just saying, like, just tweak something what you have now. And now you have knowledge. So the next time you shoot video tomorrow or on Zoom, you're going to know those tips and tricks I gave you. And you're going to be like, oh shit, now I look better.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. So first of all, so basically right now, if you wanted to do a video right now, you would just go, hey, hit it. We're at this class. We're at this class. Okay. And as far as like the next,
specifically for realtors, because everybody wants to post real estate content, as you should. Make it your own. Go start looking at houses. Literally, you have the MLS. Go preview houses. Start shooting content. Oh my God, there's only a couple thousand houses available inventory or X amount. Cool, that's 1,000 different videos you could be making. You know what I mean? Like I'll use Ro and Armando on my team as an example, as they're both chefs and they have a history of cooking. Because they've done this, they can give their unique spin on kitchens.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah. Like
or if you're in a landscaping or whatever the hell is. First of all, if you don't have your niche, you shouldn't even be in real estate. But like, what's your thing? Not the thing that's going to make more money, not the thing that's going to make you more this or more famous or get you more followers. What do you know already? And what's your favorite part? Because I can tell you mine right now. It changes over the years. I've been doing this long enough. Right now, it's weird. Well, you know, everything I've been showing you. It's weird spaces, garages, and land. That's it. I don't care what the house looks like, honestly. And everyone has their quirks, and it's just where I'm at in my life. That's what I want. But if I'm making just content on garages, land, and whatever, not only am I going to be good at making that content, because no one else is, to be honest, because I've already been scoping it. I'm going to be knowledgeable, so I'm not going to sound like a robot and weird. And I'm making a video like the 48,000th realtor that did. Like, no, I'm going to know my shit, because this is what I already know. And it's going to convey over any type of content I'm making, even if I mess up and make it a mistake. Like, I don't care. The same reason why, you know, half the people on my team won't have to care about them doing anything in their respected, whether call it industries or things that they like, right? Flowers, cooking, all the shit that they're into. If there is a cooking convention, making this up, and Armando and Ro, they're not going to be concerned about shit, because they know anybody can walk up to them and be like, again, I'm making this up. Like, how do you make fried eggs? And they're like, yeah, that's it. Done. Easy. I learned that like 28 years ago, right? Just go for the things like that. It'll convey. You're already doing real estate. Talk about real estate and why this kitchen is the shit. Tell a story. and just focus on that and rinse and repeat 1%. Like that's it. I'm trying to figure out a better way of conveying all this, and I'll get there. Kind of doing these talks is like stand up, right?
Yeah.
Like each.
Oh, we lost you for a second. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, sorry, I lost you for a second on my end.
Yeah, no, it's good thing because that's the only thing that's going to get me to shut up. But go ahead.
No, I was gonna open it up to anybody to see if they had any questions on anything that that they can help. You can either unmute yourself or jump in the chat and throw something out if you have any questions on anything, really, anything video.
Hey, Brandon, Dave.
Hey, Dave, how's it going?
Good, man. Oh, shoot. Got my headphones ripped out here. Hey, so this has been awesome, guys. I just want to tell you thanks for putting it together. And Chris, thanks for your time too.
Of course.
But just going back to, I've been watching my kids too, so I've been kind of in and out. But did you talk much about as far as platforms? Like, are you saying pick a platform and just go, or are you just posting stuff to multiple platforms off the one platform?
Pick something or go. And can I pick on you for a second? Since
go for it.
Honorably spoke up, and thank you, even though I can't see you. What do you use? What do you use right now? Social media that like is so easy for you.
I've been using Instagram. I've tried to start using like Reels and stuff, and then I had a buddy that was like, "Hey, you should do TikTok again." And I've like been on and off TikTok because I hate it so much. But like I know that that's where a ton of people are.
Don't worry about that. So it's probably
but you're
good at Instagram, right?
Yeah, it's going to be one of those two that I'm going to start doing stuff on.
How about you just pick one? We'll pick Instagram because you're already used to it, and you don't have to like now. I got to learn
it. Yeah, totally.
No, pick. That's why I was like, let me pick on you. Pick what you're good at. Start off with that. Do it for 30 days, and this is the same advice I gave to Tony because I was like, don't worry about TikTok. Don't worry about anything. 30 days of Instagram, like that's your homework. I don't want to hear anything. Just come back in 30 days type thing. And at the end of 30 days, when we met up, I was like, now you see why I did that? Like, go fuck off on TikTok now, which she is, by the way. She's creating content. But the beauty of this, the 1% consistency, whatever analogy you want to push it to is at the end of 30 days, you now have that muscle that you've now built that it don't matter if it's Instagram or TikTok because you're posting, you're learning how to create content that people like. So I'll say this real quick about TikTok. When TikTok went popular, I was not in a place or a position that I can post freely. And I, knowing what I know in my history, watched TikTok blow up, including all of last year. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm like bursting at the seams. Like I want to create, I know these guys have no idea what they're doing. Like that's what I was feeling, right? But then I was like, once I finally signed up, because I didn't sign up for TikTok until a couple months ago. To be really honest, I didn't even want to see it. I was so upset I was missing out. Like FOMO. Once I got on and looked, I'm like, oh my God, this is just like Snapchat, and it's just like Instagram Reels, and before that, and before that. I've been doing it long enough. It's the same shit. Sorry for cussing. So my advice, even like to just clear the mechanism. Just create badass shit on Instagram. At the end of 30 days. I'm almost guaranteed if you did it truly for 30 days, like you're a big boy, you don't have to be accountable to anybody. You're already going to be like, oh God, yeah. Now I can start messing around on TikTok because I know the waves. I watched the ocean long enough. I can kind of view the waves. That answer your question?
Totally. Perfect.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
No, of course.
Anyone else have any questions?
I got off easy. That's why I talk so much. I don't have to answer questions at the end.
Well, while we're waiting to see if anybody else jumps up on here, you kept talking about doing it for 30 days. Is that you used to have or still do have a 30-day challenge of sorts?
Okay, so the original. I'll start by saying this. In like 2009, I think it was, I started a YouTube channel about storage unit auctions before the TV shows. Maybe it was over. I don't know. And I started just because honestly, it was to push myself. It was like a 30 and 30 challenge. And I just posted it to YouTube, and it was within the storage auction community online at that time. we started doing videos for 30 days and cranked out a ton. And by the end of those 30 days, which is why I gave that advice just now, like I was pretty G at doing YouTube, right? Fast forward to when I launched the podcast, same thing. We're going to do 30 and 30, all this other stuff. It worked out. I mean, you know what happened with the show. Now it's starting to creep. Like Tony and I have been talking to it, and I don't know if I've either said this to my team or Tony or whatnot, but like we're going to do a challenge if they want to do it. It's up to any if they want to do it, but it's the same thing. It's a 30 and 30 challenge. And what I'd like to do, actually, if anybody wants to do it, is kind of like put it out there the same old school way I did it with the first two things. Is it's a challenge for like everybody. So if you want to, like, I'll give you an example. Back to, I think it was David, right? Because I can't see him anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to David's thing. If he was like, yeah, I want to do the 30 and 30 challenge, then I'm going to post content for 30 days on Instagram. And at the end of the 30 days, like, we're all doing it type of shit. I don't know. I'm literally making this up.
Okay.
Let's make it. Let's do it. Done.
You want to do it?
Yeah.
Challenge accepted. Let's go.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So here, I'll kind of, if you want to talk for a minute, you want me to create like a Google form or whatever? And we'll just ask what name, email, and your
Tony wants to do it. Yeah. Okay. So
cool.
name, email, the social platform you're gonna pick, like the handle for it. So I'll call out Tony. Tony, what do you want to do? Instagram or TikTok? You can type or text.
I want to do. I'm here. Hi. Okay. Hi, everyone.
We can't see you, but
okay.
You don't have to turn it on if you're trying to hide from the world.
Hi, everyone. Anywho, I would like to pick Instagram, I guess.
All right. You're still blacked out.
I don't know why, but I'm here.
No, you're here. That's all that matters. So,
I have my privacy screen thing.
There she is. All right. So, like, put, for example, like Tony's name, Tony's email, which you already know Tony's email, and then like her Instagram handle at, what is it, Nia versus Tony?
Yep.
Perfect. And then David's, it'd be David's name. What's your Instagram handle, David?
No, there we go. It's David S. Deal Real Estate.
David S. Deal?
Yeah, real estate.
Like Deal is in your last name?
Like Deal is in my last name. D-I-E-H-L.
So when I hear Deal, I think D-E-A-L, but I happen to see your last name and I was like, people aren't going to think that. D-I-E-H-L?
Dude, I'm telling you, the real deal, there's lots of stuff that I've just played with and I'm like, maybe I should just go with it. And
Are you in Vegas?
I'm in Utah.
Where in Utah? Like southern or northern?
Northern. So like, do you know where Park City is? I'm like 20 minutes east of Park City.
Okay.
Small town.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. God, I love it up there.
It's awesome.
Anyway, I'm not here to pick on your Instagram names or anything like that, but put whatever his handle is. It's just something to think about because again, like,
it's true. No, I get it.
It's going to be hard for people to, or if I'll give you a perfect example, like mine's Blue Geno, Bluegeno. There's a whole backstory about Blue Geno, but I've used it forever, and now it's so like seasoned. That name, I'm like, who cares? And you know what I mean? So if you're at that point with Real Deal or however you're playing with it, like continue on. But if you have an opportunity to make it more brandable,
do it.
Okay. And test and tweak,
Easy enough.
Cool. So Tony's on there. Yeah. If anybody, I'm looking at the chat. Yeah. If anybody wants to sign up, I'm down. Put me on there for something. I don't know yet. God, I'm taking my own advice.
Here you go. So I created a form. Anybody that wants to join. That's all it is. Not sexy form like we talked about before. It's your name, email, and the social handle that you want people to check up on when you're posting.
Yeah, that's perfect. So we can all just see who's doing what.
Yeah. Sorry, hold on. I just saw this. Jen says that she's leaving, so I'm gonna.
Oh, perfect. Rain's Real Estate Team is the Instagram. Boom. Yeah, we'll blast it out to everybody. Or you can blast it out to everybody.
And what's did she have her email? Oh, okay, never mind. She just put on. Thank you, Jen. As I'm trying to like navigate through this thing.
Yeah.
All right, well that'll be cool. If there are no more questions, and anybody who wants to join on that, do that whenever. Even if we'll probably, Chris and I will discuss when we'll have the start date, I guess, and then everybody get notification of that.
Why don't we just pick it
whatever,
now?
bro? Start dates right now.
Start date?
How about
right
now?
Okay.
Yeah,
right now.
Today?
I love
Today.
it.
All right.
Fuck yeah.
First one's today. Love it. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave.
Gotcha, buddy.
Well, with all that being said, if we don't have any other, all right, Katie's in too. Awesome. Love it.
Oh yeah.
No, Roseanne already posted this meeting. Good work.
Well, that's she's a G. She's part of the team, so
awesome.
That's an easy one.
Awesome. Well, if we have
real quick, I am going to interrupt you. I just want to say thank you so much to you, like not only for just setting this up and inviting me, but allowing me to do what I normally do, which is talk, and also like everyone that showed up. I know it was like kind of last minute and it's the middle of the day, but I love doing this stuff. And I told him, like, when you first asked, I was like, I don't care, honestly, if no one shows up. If no one shows up, let's still you and I do it, because I just freaking love doing this stuff. So thank you. And that's it.
Well, thank you as well. I do appreciate it. And if you have a moment, there was a story that you're about to tell me, and I haven't heard the entirety of it. But a story about you getting onto an airplane without an ID.
Oh my God. Okay, so if Katie's still on, maybe Katie heard this story, because I tell it, but I tell it locally here. A couple weeks after 9/11, like not just the one that passed, like in 2001, I sweet talked my way onto a plane without an ID. Like, and I say that because I don't know if you remember at that time, like no one was doing nothing at that time, let alone flying without IDs. Now, I got very lucky, but here's what happened. So my dad at that point reached a point in his career where he was like, I'm going to do something for myself. I'm going to buy myself a classic Porsche. And he bought it on eBay in Utah, and he wanted to bring his son on this father-son trip. We were going to fly to Utah, Salt Lake City, drive the Porsche back, right? It just sounds like a Hallmark card or a Lifetime movie already, right? So the young, like, thought I knew everything asshole realtor, whatever the hell I was, 20 something at the time, was excited and was all for it. But I showed up to the airport the morning of, right after 9/11, not right after, it was like a couple weeks after 9/11, without an ID, without a wallet, by the way. Which actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, I drove also back. So
without
shout out to my dad's parenting. Yeah, shout out to my dad's parenting. Anyway, so I was probably sitting like this, and he's just checking everything. Because again, this is important. It's the car, it's the whole experience. Like, it's working out, and I can't imagine what he's going through, because I'm his son, and I just noticed, trying to make sure, whatever. And right at the last second, your asshole son is like, "Oh, I've got my ID." You know what I mean? He lost his shit. Now, my dad, for the most part, is like, his temperament is like Paulie from Goodfellas. Like, it's real chill. He doesn't like go 0 to 60 a lot. He does, but you know what I mean? For the most part, it's that I've never seen, to this day, him get that upset over the whole situation, and rightfully so, because I have 2 boys, and I've now witnessed, payback. But I just had this confidence of like, I'll get on that plane, no problem. I look back, it was like a young female lady ticket. I was like, I got this, no problem. But he kept going on, and I was like, I need to get on this fucking plane. It is literally my like life or death. Like, this guy's gonna kill me. I'm gonna fuck up this trip. Blah, 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 blah. fast forward, I don't know what the hell I said, but I got on that damn plane. I sweet talked my way on that fucking plane. And here's the coolest thing about all this story. As you know, I'm moving and shifting offices and doing all this stuff. I'm going through, actually, it's the box right here. So picture this box, this big ass box full of mini DV tapes that I'm now culling over. I started recording right when we got on the plane. So I have that whole trip. I got the Porsche, I got the drive back without a license on me, the whole thing. But I usually tell that story at the beginning to give context. The one that I just love telling it, but also like, not to be woo woo, but it's literally in like, I just, without realizing I was doing it because I didn't want to get my ass freaking beat for my dad, ruin his freaking, you know what I mean? Like his experiences. But beautiful yellow Porsche driving in the sunset with the sun, just squashed it. I had to like figure out a way. It was like my back was against the wall. How do I not crush this man's dreams? 1. Then 2, how do I not get killed? And 3, I want to freaking drive a badass Porsche 911. Like, what the hell? I want to go on this free trip to drive. You know what I mean? Like, I just freaking, and it worked out. I got on the damn thing. When I look back on my life and I'll kind of button it up like this, it's all just blind ass faith that it'll work out. Just the confidence, like it'll work out. And if it doesn't, who fucking cares? What's going to happen? I don't get on a plane. I'll get yelled at. Life will move on. Not to diminish that experience, but like, just freaking do, because you'll be surprised what you'll get when you ask for shit. I was just showing you some emails prior to this that I will make public eventually of just the same situation. I don't know how I'm going to get this person to respond, or I don't know how I'm going to drive or live or whatever the hell it is, but I'll figure it out. And I'm just blindly doing it. And it's freaking weird. It's like, yeah, we can do this. We could do that. You know, the farm, that whole thing.
Yeah.
So
what I also think is awesome though.
Posting.
Yeah. What I also think is awesome though, is that you were recording 20 years ago. You're already doing video 20 years ago, and now like where it's at.
And I wasn't trying to be some hotshot cinematographer. I was a freaking skateboarder. We used to film skateboarding. I just had fun with my friends. I wasn't skateboarding anymore, but I still liked shooting hijinks. That's all I did. So
that's awesome. Well, Chris, thanks so much for sharing that story and for all all the information for us, and also getting us going on this 30-day challenge. I'm excited.
So am I.
To get started with it. And if there aren't any more questions, we'll go ahead and shut it down.
Sweet. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys, everyone, for coming.